Hi y'all, I'm Allison. Today we're going to take a deep dive into all aspects of the magical readathon. Everything that I am inflicting upon myself for the month of August with all of my extra rules and exceptions, and got lots of graphics, bookmarks, and some more information about the new level that I'm adding to it as we're amping it up one more time. So let's move over to my desk and get right into it because there is a lot to cover today. I hope y'all are as excited as I am, and hopefully this won't become too much detail for you. Okay, I have my exam dates. I haven't really looked too closely at this, thought about the implications of it, and I don't think I'm quite ready to. So instead, let's take a little bit of a closer look at everything that I'm actually going to be inflicting upon myself this month. So we'll start out with some basics about the classes themselves. So here is the time blocking schedule. First off, morning means 6 a.m. to noon. Afternoon is noon to 6 p.m. And then evening classes start at 6 p.m. and late classes start after sundown, which is typically about 9 o'clock here. The evening and the late class time, that cuts off at 1 a.m. Basically, the distinction between those two is there are some classes that just have to be done after it gets dark out. So whether there's some aspect of shape shifting that needs to be practiced under, a full moon, or something along those lines, that is the purpose of that time block way down there. And also I do most of my reading at night. So now some other things to address with this. Some of our classes have more than one book attached to them. The two for me are Restoration, I need O and the Q levels, and then Elemental Studies, I need all three. Now for those classes, I did not break it down to a different time slot per book. It's just, I'll start with the O level book, and whenever I finish that book, I immediately proceed on to the Q and then go on to the D. And all three of those have to be finished by the exam date, which is pretty straightforward. The same applies to the electives, I believe. Let's see. Sand ship building and apothecary keeper, those both have 2 books as well. So I will pick one, probably the first one that appeared in my video. I think that's how I numbered them. I'll read that book first. Whenever that one's finished, I just automatically switch over to the second one. Again, try to finish both before the exam date is upon me. Now, dragon riding, that one is completely different. You'll notice there's a dragon riding 1 and a dragon riding 2 because this class is unique. It's essentially 2 separate entities, 2 separate classes held in different locations with different professors. Dragon riding 1 is your theoretical part. That's where you're just learning the rules. It's all desk work, sitting at a desk. Safety, rules, regulations, that's all it is. That part of the course must be completed before you are cleared to proceed on to Dragon Riding 2. So that has an early test date, as you see here on the exam calendar. So the test date is on the 15th, which means the Dragon Riding Part 2, the actual flying portion of the class, does not begin until August 16th. So I could finish the first book, like say August 7th, but I still have to wait for August 16th for the second class to begin. There will be no teacher there, no other students, no dragons. So you have to wait. So that's why this one has its own time block for class 1 and 2, and there are 2 separate exam dates. If that makes sense, because I felt the need to complicate it even more. It just felt more realistic. Driver's ed, you've got the written and then the driving part. Now, as far as the classes themselves, so I have an hour. That does not have to be a consecutive 1 hour. I don't have to start my class at 8 o'clock and end at 9 o'clock. It's just 1 hour added up together. So say I do a class in the morning, I start reading my book at 8:30, 9 o'clock, something comes up and I need to go take care of it. So I set my book down. I still have 30 minutes worth of in my hour to read, and then I can come back to it later, do my other 30 minutes to get my full hour. Now, the other one thing I cannot do, if I have like 2 morning classes, I have to complete the first blocked hour, that first class, before I can jump into the second book. So I can't read for like 30 minutes from Restoration, put that book down, go do something else, come back, pick up Shape Shifting for 30 minutes, and then jump back to Restoration. I have to complete the hour for Restoration, and then I can go move on to the next class. And that works the same with each time block. Should make sense. Weekends. In the spring, this is what I was able to do. I had extra time on the weekends. This time, I'm not going to. I'm going to save the weekends so I can work on editing videos, because I'm really hoping to be able to put out videos while I'm still attending school. So that's the dream. Hopefully I can make it happen. We'll have to see how this plays out. Who knows? And the other difference is study hall. There are no study halls built into my calendar this time. You may have noticed that. I do, however, have the chance to earn some study hall, and we'll get to that in a second. First, let's go over grading. This time I'm changing up the grading system. So before it was just based on the percentage of the book that I had completed by the exam date, and to get the A, to get 100, I had to also post my review online. I did, you know, I dropped the ball at the very end, and so I ended up failing some classes even though I had read the book. Some of y'all thought, you know, I was being too harsh on myself. I probably was, but that's just how I do things. But I thought this time I would, you know, change it up. We're actually going to have like a point system. So here's the grading scale. I'm going to get 70 points, 70%, if I finish the book. Finish the book, I get a 70, which is a solid C. I get another 10 points for participation. And that is if I go on to, Google Drive and register the book that I've read for the prompt, all of that. Because guess what? I never registered a single book for spring. So yeah, I need a reminder, I need points. So if I read my book and register it with G, I get a B, which would be 80 points. To get the A and to get a full 100 on for my course. Then I also have to do the review on Storygraph, Goodreads, and written down in my reading journal. And the essay. The reviews are worth 20 points. So if I add all those up, I would get 100, an A+ for the class. And you'll see pretty much what it'll boil down to. A means it was read, reviewed, and registered. I did everything, got 100. B means it was read and registered over at G's. And then C means I only read the book. And I fail if I did not finish. There's no D grade. I got rid of it this time. So either I'm going to finish the book or I'm not. I'm not going to bother with the percentage of how much I read on the book and everything. I spent like half of this afternoon trying to figure it out, and I just finally decided we're going simple. So it's either A, B, C, or I fail. Now, for classes that have multiple books, for example, elemental studies, I will average them out. So say I get 100 on my first 2, but I don't manage to complete my 3rd book. I run out of time, and all I get is a B on that. So I would add the 100, 100, and the 80 and divide it by 3 and get a final grade for that class. And the same would go for any of the others. And here are my final grade incentives, which I didn't change any of these. So A, I'll get to remove a book from my September TBR, whichever one's not appealing to me. I'll just drop it off the list, and I can double up. and use one of the extra reading challenges and combo it with one of my, whichever TBR game I end up playing in September. B, I can double up. I don't get to drop a book, but I get to double. C, there's no perks or punishment. It's just everything stays the same as normal. I had fun and I got a C. A D, which does not exist. No, yeah, a D will exist for finals. It won't exist for the course grade, but for my final GPA for this semester, a D is possible. So if I get a D, I have to spend my Wheel of Shame, which is full of the books that weren't read during previous TBR games. And I have to push forward the book that I made the least amount of progress in from this readathon and complete it in September. If I get an F, I have to spin the Wheel of Shame, and I have to push forward all of the incomplete books and try to finish those in September. If I don't finish them in September, they just get added to the Wheel of Shame. Okay, so then let's take a little look at the exam schedule, because there are some unique opportunities here. If I finish a book, get it registered, turn in my essay, in other words, review it. If I do everything before the official test date comes up, then I have an early completion, and I will get to choose 2 hours of class time and convert that to a study hall. So let's say, look back at our calendar. Let's say that I managed to finish my animal studies class early. So you'll see I've got 4 1-hour blocks. So I can choose any 2 of those that I want and turn it into a study hall. And that will remain in place until we get to the actual exam date, which would be August 22nd. And then after the exam date, so on the 23rd, those study halls will disappear. That class is removed completely from the calendar because the classroom has been locked. The teacher has left the building. They are off finishing up their end of the year paperwork or dealing with the other courses that they're still teaching. But that class is officially over, no more. And I guess I lied about, I said there was no percentages. The percentages don't come into play with the grades, but they are a factor still. Because after an exam date, so let's say with my animal studies, I only read 93% of the book. I was close, but I didn't finish. So I can use the remaining classes on the calendar to finish that book. I won't be able to raise my grade above the C, but I can finish that book. So then if I end up failing others, this book wouldn't be pushed forward to September. That's where that comes into play. So the 90 to 90%, all of the, I can continue like studying that class on my own, like independent study during that designated time of the day. I've gotten close enough to completing the class that it's safe for me to proceed without the guidance of the teacher. So if I get between 80 to 89% of the book read, I can use 2 more class periods, independent study, and get as close as I can to finishing the book. I've got the concept enough that it's safe for me to continue on my own. If I only get to 70 to 79% of the book, I can only use my next scheduled class to try and get a little bit farther into the book. Not have as many pages to potentially be pushed forward in September. And if I didn't make the 70% mark in the book, I don't have enough knowledge on that subject to be able to continue safely on my own, and that book simply has to be shelved. I can't touch it until the following month. I will have to just wonder what happened with it. I hope that makes sense. It's probably complicating it more than I need to, but that's how I am. I need a rule for every scenario. So, yeah. Okay, I think that's it for all of the rule aspects. And my schedule, I still haven't looked to see, to compare how much time I have before the test comes up. I think I'm going to save that for the daily vlogs. Yeah, and I'll take a closer look then because I haven't. By the way, Today is July 31st. I was supposed to start school this morning. It's like 7:30 at night. I spent all day yesterday editing the first portion of this video, and then today finalizing all of my paperwork, getting all the rules and all the nitty-gritty, all the graphics done. And I almost forgot. They're back. I have the bookmarks. I will toggle them through for you. I do want to show you, I made a couple of changes. Here's what I did last time. And I'll put one next to it so you can compare the two. Now I can circle, because before I was writing down whether I was in class or if I was doing study hall or weekend or whatever. So that class or study hall means I can just circle it. So then I know when I read. The date, I'll obviously put the date. And then the pages are down there at the bottom. Now, there are a couple that are different. So restoration. The prompt for this one is you have to read your book in a different location every time, which will make vlogging that one fun, because that is my Once Upon a Book Club box, if I remember correctly. So I'll be bouncing all over the house during that video. But you'll notice on the bookmark, I also put on there location. So then I can write down where I read it, so I won't go back to somewhere that I've already been. So I was quite pleased with myself for remembering to do that little detail. Yeah, and on the back, you know, they have their titles. I also, you know, if there's multiples, I put the letter on there. So, but I love my bookmarks. These are fun. These make my heart happy. All the color. And if anybody's curious, this is 110 cardstock, and it is very sturdy. Let's see, all the colors, and they're very sturdy. And last thing, I feel like this is going on forever. I'm going to give you a hint of what I'm adding this time. I have a little stack of some cards, and once a day a card will be pulled, and we'll see what happens. So this is to keep things interesting during the school day, you know, because life doesn't throw enough at you. We gotta help it along, and I am really excited about these. And you know, there's a story to go with these. So I am not going to be pulling one on the first day. These will start on, I think, day 2. So how's that for a teaser? I hope y'all are curious and excited about those. I want to know, what theories do y'all have? Because I've been hinting for a while that I'm adding another layer to it. So did you have any ideas? Did you have any expectations? If you did, let me know what you thought I was gonna add to it this time to amp things up once again. Okay, I still have a lot of work to do. I'm going to try and get this edited tonight so it will be ready to go. And I'm hoping to start school tomorrow and officially begin. Okay, I am going to try my best. I've got 2 videos waiting to be edited. There is another round of bingo maze just waiting for me to get to. And I have another Once Upon a Book Club unboxing. I hope to have those videos go up while I'm getting acclimated to the chaos that is Orilium Academy. So hopefully those videos will go up, and by the time y'all have seen those, I will be ready with the beginning of my Orilium journey that I will be sharing with y'all. I will be vlogging this, and depending on how it goes, I'm going to try and keep those videos kind of short. So I might be doing like just a day or 2 days. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully we won't be waiting until September to see how all this plays out. All right. I've rambled enough. I've got a ton on my to-do list that I still have to get to, and we're going on like 8:30. And I've already officially missed my first day of school. I'm on brand. I'm super excited. I can't wait to hear about everybody else's journeys and see what everybody's doing to time block. I am so tickled that y'all are going to join me in this chaotic whirlwind of a readathon. It's so much fun, but by the end of it, we're all going to be like, okay, I'm done. Bye. I've got stuff to do. I'll see y'all at school.